Okay, so we'll start by sitting crisscross applesauce. Hands are going to be resting on our knees. We're zipping up through our spine, sitting nice and tall. Shoulders are tucked into our shoulder backs or relaxed and away from our ears. Chin is parallel to the floor and our eyes are closed as we begin to center ourselves and warm up for tonight's yoga practice. Really focusing on emptying our minds 100% so that we can get the full benefit of yoga. Now bringing our attention to our breath as we breathe in and out through our nose, feeling that cool air pass through our nostrils as we inhale, cleansing as it enters our lungs. And then feeling the warm air pass through our nostrils as we exhale, reminding ourselves to breathe like this even during our day, as it is much cleaner and beneficial for our minds. We also want to make sure that we are breathing diaphragmatically, and we can tell that we are doing so with the subtle rise and fall of our belly. And then anytime during our yoga practice, if you wish to rest your hands on your belly to make sure you are doing so, you may do so. We also want to make sure that we're breathing diaphragmatically throughout our day. So testing ourselves as we remind our body that this is how we should be breathing to prevent back issues and really also engage our core muscles in just breathing itself. Now we'll open our eyes as we look up towards the ceiling and do our eye circles, starting to the right, creating a large circle all the way through our eyelids, or our eyes, hugging our eyes as close as we can. No skipping or straining, just one fluid motion. This is beneficial for people that are looking at screens, but also it helps improve our eyesight. Then we'll look straight ahead, we'll squeeze our eyes tight, and then relax for a breath. As we open our eyes once more, looking up towards the ceiling, moving to the left this time, creating that one solid fluid motion all the way through, hugging our eyes. This also triggers parts of our brains that help improve intuition, memory, and creativity. So it's also beneficial for that. As we look straight ahead, we'll close our eyes once more, squeezing them tight, and then releasing for our breath. Keeping our eyes closed, we'll move on to our neck exercises as we bring our right hand over our left ear, bringing our right ear down to our right shoulder, but still remaining relaxed in our shoulders. And then also trying to stretch as far as we possibly can without injuring ourselves. So knowing our limitations all throughout yoga, as most poses, we should feel a little bit discomfort, but not hurting ourselves. So if it starts to hurt, easing ourselves out of that pose. Maybe even adding a nod here, staying at a spot that's a little tight and breathing through it. We'll release our right hand, rest it back on our knee. Breathe here for a moment. As we bring our left hand over to our right ear, bringing our left ear down to our left shoulder. Again, remaining relaxed in our shoulder. And then pulling as far as we feel comfortable. Adding the nod if we choose to do so. Nice and slow. Feeling it tight in certain areas, maybe stopping there, breathing through it. Really working out those kinks that we have. As we exhale, bringing our left hand back down to our knee and sitting up straight again. Chin is still parallel to the floor, eyes are still closed. We'll just do one circular motion with our head all the way around on both directions to really release the tension from our neck, maybe hearing a few pops here. Then bringing it back to neutral, align with our spine, our neck is. Now for our shoulders, we'll bring our right hand over to our left side, resting our left hand on our right elbow and bringing our arm close to our body as we feel the stretch in our shoulders here, releasing that tension that's been built up throughout the week. I know I tend to build up a lot of built up tension in my shoulders, so it's really important that we are stretching every day. Still breathing in and out through our noses. Still feeling that rise and fall of our belly. Still not thinking of anything other than our breathing. So whenever our minds start to wander, we can bring our attention back to our breath as we're in our pose. And we'll release our left hand, bring our hands back down to our knees, and breathe here for a moment as we move on to the next side. We'll cross our left hand over to our right side, resting our right hand on our left elbow, and then bringing our arm closer to our bodies, feeling that stretch, maybe slight discomfort. Again, no pain should be felt here, so knowing when to stop. We'll release our hands, bring them back to our knees, and then create large circles with our shoulders, one for each direction, really shrugging and then feeling that relaxation as we release away from our ears. Next, we'll get ready to come into our tabletop position as we come into cat-cow. So if we were sitting on a pillow, getting it out of the way. Coming into our tabletop, we want to make sure that our hands, knees, and feet are about 6 inches apart. Our fingers are spread apart so that our middle finger is pointing to the top of our mat. Our wrists are below our shoulders and our knees are below our hips. We want our back to be as straight as it possibly can. Neck is in line with our spine as best as it can. Feeling all aligned as we are in tabletop here. And then as we inhale, we'll sway our backs and look up towards the ceiling, coming into our cow pose. Breathing in as much air as we possibly can. And then exhaling, rounding out our backs, tucking our chins, coming into cat. Really squeezing all that air out as we inhale, coming into cow. And exhale, rounding out into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale into cat. As we stay in cat for a moment, we'll bring our toes together, spread our knees a little apart, and then sit our butts by our feet, coming into our child's pose, resting our forehead to the mat. And our hands are either out in front of us or out or by our feet. Having our hands out in front of us can stretch out our shoulders a little more, or bringing our hands to our feet can stretch out our backs, really open that up. Whichever is most comfortable for you, or what you think you may need more stretching out of. Still making sure that we are breathing in and out through our noses, as well as diaphragmatically here. We'll slowly bring ourselves back up into our tabletop, coming out of that pose, bringing our knees together as we sit on our knees for a moment, getting ready to do our sun salutations. So standing up at the top of our mats into mountain pose or Tadasana, making sure that Tadasana is done correctly with our feet about 6 inches apart. Knees are relaxed and not buckled or locked. Shoulders are relaxed and away from our ears. We're zipping up through our spine, tucking in our tailbone to engage our core muscles here. Chin is again parallel to the floor and our hands are at our heart center. We'll work on our alignment the first round and then add the breath the second round as we do normally. We'll raise our arms, come into a gentle back bend as we swan dive down into our forward fold. Releasing our neck here if we can, so that our head is below our heart. Knees are bent slightly if we need to. We'll rest our hands to the mat as we bring our right foot back, resting our knee on the mat, coming into our lunge. We want our knee to be at a 90-degree angle, as well as pushing out towards our left pinky toe. If we need to broaden our base, we can walk our foot out a little bit. And then our right foot can either be laying flat on the mat or tucking our toes. We're sitting in this pose, still tucking our tailbone so we can feel the stretch in our groin area. From here, we'll raise our arms and exhale. Bring our hands to the mat as we knee our feet to the back of the mat, coming into our plank pose. Hands and feet are like tabletop, 6 inches apart. Tailbone is still tucked, engaging our core muscles, making sure that our back is as straight as it possibly can, and our neck is in line with our spine. From here, we'll rest our knees to the mat, bringing our chest to our chin, raising our butts up in the air as well as our chins. As this is inchworm, we'll lay flat on the mat, and then pushing up with our back, coming up to cobra, raising our chin as far as we can, lifting our hands here to make sure that the power is coming from our backs and not our hands. And then resting once more, laying flat on the mat, curling our toes under, and then pushing up and out, sticking our butts up in the air, coming into downward dog. Here, our ears should be in between our forearms. Head is released, neck is released. And our feet, our heels are trying to touch the mats. Legs are as straight as they possibly can. We'll bring our right foot in between our hands here, coming into our lunge on the other side, resting our left knee to the mat. Right knee is pushing out towards our right pinky toe. Again, sitting in this pose, feeling that core engaged, as well as the stretch in our groin area. We'll raise our arms, rest our hands back to the mat, bring our feet together into our forward fold, still 6 inches apart here. Hands are released, neck is released. And then slowly we'll round out our back, vertebrae by vertebrae, coming back up into our Tadasana, raising our hands into a back bend once more, and then our hands come back to heart center as we move on to add the breath. Coming into Tadasana, we'll inhale, raise our arms, gentle back bend. Exhale, swan dive into forward fold. Resting our hands to the mat, bringing our right knee back to the mat into a forward lunge. We'll inhale, raise our arms, and exhale, hands to the mat, coming into plank. We'll exhale, coming down into inchworm, and then inhale into cobra. Exhaling, pushing ourselves up into downward dog. Breathing here for a moment. We'll bring our right foot forward into our lunge. Inhale, raising our arms. And exhale, bringing our hands back, coming into forward fold. And then slowly rounding our backs back up, breathing as we do so. We'll inhale, raise our arms, gentle back bend again, and then hands back to our heart center. And then from here, we'll move on to our standing poses. This week, we'll do warrior 1 and 2. So coming into a wider stance, maybe about 3 feet or so. We'll turn our left foot at a 45-degree angle and then place our right foot facing the top of the mat. We'll turn our torso towards the top of the mat as much as we possibly can. Again, if we need to widen our base here, we can walk our foot out a little bit. But from here, we'll bend our knee, our right knee. Again, right knee is pushing out towards our right pinky toe, and we'll raise our arms as we come into warrior one. Tilting our tailbones again so that we can get our core engaged, and our chin is parallel to the ground, keeping our neck aligned with our spine. Feeling the stretch in our groins, as well as the power in our arms as they remain up. Forearms are in between our ears are in between our forearms, I should say. From here, we'll turn our left foot parallel to the mat, twist our torso towards the front as we come into warrior two. Right knee is still out towards our right pinky toe, and our head is turned towards our right hand. Slight gaze past our right middle finger here. Still tilting our tailbones down, feeling our core is still engaged here, still breathing in and out through our noses, as well as diaphragmatically. From here, we'll slowly unbend our right foot, bringing our right knee, unbend your right knee, and then our right foot is parallel to the mat as we just go into our wide-legged forward fold. So we'll inhale, raise our arms, and exhale, swan dive, tilting from our hips down into a wide-legged forward fold. Releasing our hands and our head here so that our head is dangling here, our arms are dangling here. Feeling our neck, releasing all of that pressure from holding our head. Still breathing in and out through our nose. Feeling the stretch in our legs. Feeling relaxed in our heads. From here, we'll rest our hands to the mat as we heel toe our feet together. And then slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, rounding ourselves back up into Tadasana. We'll rest our hands on our lower back as we come into a little deeper back bend. Not going all the way down, just bending our backs slightly. And then keeping our hands on our lower back as we come back straight, and then just adding a quick twist to really even out and neutralize our spine after sitting in that pose for a moment. All right, we'll bring our feet back out as we move on to our left side, going warrior one and warrior two. Our right foot is turned at a 45-degree angle. Our left foot is facing the top or the back of the mat. We'll turn our torso towards our left foot, and then bend our left knee. Coming into warrior one, we'll raise our arms, still relaxing our shoulders, but still feeling all that power that we have in this pose. From here, we'll bring our arms out to a T, turn our torso towards the front. Our right foot is now parallel to the mat, and we're looking slightly out past our left middle finger. Slowly straightening our left knee, Turning our right, left foot parallel to the mat as we heel toe ourselves back up into Tadasana. Moving on to our tree pose. So coming into Tadasana, you may do this on the mat or off the mat, whichever is going to help you keep better balance. We want to make sure that our weight is distributed equally between the four corners of our feet. So raising our toes here if you choose to do so, making sure that it's equally distributed and we're not swaying. Knees again are relaxed. That way we're not buckling over. Tailbone tucked, zipping up through our spine, standing nice and tall. Shifting our weight over to the right. Turning our knee out away from our bodies. And then resting our foot either on our thighs or on our calves. Whichever is most comfortable, or resting our toes on the mat, resting our heel on our ankles. We just want to make sure that our foot is not on our knees, as that can cause injuries. Also, should have said this before, but picking a spot in the room that doesn't move, fixating our gaze on that so that we can really focus in on our balance. Or maybe you want to challenge yourself and close your eyes. Really feeling that power and that strength in our right side. Still breathing in and out through our nose, as well as diaphragmatically. Remaining relaxed as we inhale and exhale. We'll release our left foot, coming back into mountain pose. Gently shaking out our right leg as we move over to our left side. So shifting our weight over to the left, spinning our right knee away from our bodies, and then resting our foot either on our thigh, our calves, or resting on the mat. Bringing our attention to our breath. Once more, whenever our mind starts to wander. We'll release our right foot, shake out our left leg, releasing all of that power that we have in there. As we come down to our sitting positions. So sitting on a pillow, if we chose to do so earlier, or a folded blanket. Keep our hips above our knees, whatever is most comfortable. We'll start out with our feet out in front of us and together, our legs. Resting our hands by our side, zipping up through our spine, making sure that our feet are flexed and engaged here, feeling that stretch in our calves as we sit here in our staff pose. It's still a pretty active pose, even though we're not moving. Also relaxing, just sit and catch our breath as we come out of our tree pose. Relaxing our feet as we bring our feet together, coming into our bound angle. So bringing our feet close to our pelvic area. Releasing our knees, relaxing them. Coming into bound angle, keeping our back as straight as possible and our neck aligned with our spine. We'll just slightly hinge from our hips and come forward as far as we can. Feeling deeper into the stretch, feeling it in our groin. Still breathing in and out through our noses. Maybe closing our eyes here as we relax this pose. We'll slowly hinge ourselves back up into a seated position. As we come into Janu Shirsasana, we'll bring our right foot out. Our left foot is on our right thigh, inner thigh. We'll inhale, raise our arms. And as we exhale, we'll hinge forward once more. And then resting our hands on wherever they may lay, whether that be our ankle, our foot, or maybe even our calves. Making sure that our back is still straight here, just slightly hinging forward. We'll inhale, bring our hands back up, and then exhale, slowly unhinge ourselves back up to a seated position. As we switch feet, so now our left foot is out in front of us. Right foot is by our side, or by our left thigh. We'll inhale, raise our arms, zipping up through our spine, sitting nice and tall. Exhale, hinging forward as far as we can, still keeping our back as straight as we can. And then resting our hands wherever they fall. We'll inhale, bring our hands back, up, and then exhale, slowly hinging ourselves back up. Maybe bringing our feet back out in front of us and gently wiggling them back and forth, as that was a lot of leg stretches there. We'll remove our pillow and then lay on the mat, coming into our bridge poses. So laying flat on the mat with our feet on the mat as well. Our hands are by our butts, shoulders are relaxed away from our ears, and we're looking straight up at the ceiling. While we are in bridge pose, we want to make sure that we aren't moving our head. To prevent injuries to our neck. So remaining stationary in that part. Our knees should be at like a 45-degree angle away from our butts, and we shouldn't be able to touch our heels with our hands. As we inhale, we'll raise our hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing our butts. And then we'll exhale, release and relax, laying flat on the mat once more. Inhale, raising our hips, squeezing our butts. And exhale, releasing and relaxing. Once more, we'll raise, squeeze, and exhale, release and relax. From here, we'll bring our hands out to a T. As we come into our twists, shifting our weight to our left, we'll cross our right knee over our left, and then letting gravity take our knees over to the right. And then we'll look out towards our left hand here, creating that full spinal twist, starting at our neck, all the way down to our sciatic nerve. Slowly bringing our knees back up to center, shifting our weight back to the center, releasing our right knee from our left, bringing our head back towards the ceiling. As we shift our weight over to the right, cross our left knee over our right, letting our knees fall to the left, and then looking our head out towards the right, towards our right hand, that is. Slowly bringing our knees back up, shifting our weight back, releasing our left knee from our right, and bringing our head back to the center as we release our legs, bringing our feet to the corners of our mats, and spreading our hands out away from our body. Our hands are either facing up to allow energy to flow through us, or they're facing down to remind ourselves to remain grounded. We can close our eyes here as we come into our Shavasana. We can slowly feel gravity weighing heavy on our limbs as we begin to relax and release to do the most important part of a yoga sequence, Shavasana. It is very important that, especially in this pose, we don't think of anything other than our breathing, really making it dramatic with this rising and falling of our belly, breathing in as much air as we possibly can, and then exhaling all the way, having a calm mind in this pose. slowly wiggle our toes and our fingers, and wakening up our senses as we come out of Shavasana at your own pace, picking a side, rolling over that side, and then pushing ourselves back up into a seated position, keeping our eyes closed, zipping up through our spine, sitting nice and tall, chin parallel to the floor, just like we were in the beginning. Still bringing our attention to our breathing, and then shifting our attention to an intention that we choose to have this week, challenging ourselves to pick something else to better our lives, better the lives around us. From here, you can open your eyes, and I thank you for joining me today. That's all I've got.